where this does pick up, because we do know with, when we go live on Facebook, it definitely has picked up a lot of interesting sidebar conversations before we jump on. So it'll be interesting today to see what happens. Okay. With that being said, I guess.
Oh, I thought we were.
I was acknowledging.
I was trying to start a conversation.
I didn't really know what you were talking about.
We're live. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I
I thought we
love
were
that,
slowly
baby.
getting in.
Well, no,
I thought we were gonna do ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, you went a little ladies?
Or it actually just
what's the Merrimack
gentlemen of Merrimack softball. Gentlemen of Merrimack slow pitch softball, right?
Yeah, you're gonna have to
welcome athletes.
I don't like athletes.
That's
I like
not a word
gentlemen.
we get you.
We are a proper brew. All right, ready? Gentlemen, welcome to the Merrimack Minute with Bring It. How's that? That works.
It sounded
That
pretty
works.
good.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it'll be.
That'll
We
do.
just have to remember that for next week.
All we have to do is listen to the first 3 minutes and 15 seconds of this.
Oh, Jesus, I'm like out of focus.
Yeah,
Well,
you
listen.
just got out of focus. I can see you now, though.
Perfect. I love seeing you. It's welcome back, gentlemen. Welcome to the inaugural Merrimack Minute here. I had alluded to this last week with a quick hit on the league page, and we had talked about it throughout the offseason on the podcast, but we heard you loud and clear. As we've said throughout the year, we are a podcast for the people. And we heard that you guys were sick and tired of listening to our fucking bullshit on zombies, horrible food takes, and just overall drivel. So we're pulling out the Merrimack session, and we're going right here, where each week we will talk Merrimack men's slow pitch softball. And with that being said, we got a full house again.
This is nice.
The boys are back.
Yeah.
The boys are back.
Just took 6 months.
Yeah.
See, we already have the request. We already have the request for athletes.
Okay.
I'm just
There's no before the podcast. Please silence your phones.
Oh, my bad. I'm
Yeah,
a rookie again, I guess.
Wow. When was the last time OC was on? Or I
know.
guess he's got to be called Prez here.
But yeah, I was thinking about that. It asked me what I had to put my name in as, and I was like, do I just go with Prez? I don't know.
You put OC, but it's
I did.
It's Prez. It's
It's
Prez.
we're
When you're in the
Merrimack.
Merrimack Minute. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I'll have to figure that out next week. But yeah, my bad on the ringer. I never had my ringer on.
Yeah, who still
Unreal.
has a ringer in
Yeah.
2022?
Seriously.
I don't even know
No
if mine
clue.
comes with one.
I mean, after seeing your phone when we were at the Hall of Fame dinner, it definitely doesn't. Probably broke
are you
off.
talking?
No, this thing's great. This is like a brand new Samsung.
Oh, geez.
I just
thought
drop
was
it a
broken.
lot.
No, that's fair enough. Well, listen, Jim, we are just over a week. We'll be a week tomorrow from the first tryout date.
Yeah.
That's April 6th. I guess, how are we looking on new players?
Yeah, so right now we have 38 signed up, or 37.
Oh, that jumped quickly.
Yep. So we could probably use a few more.
Mhm.
We're in like the 125 range for returning players. So some quick math there. We're looking at about 160, but not everybody shows up to the tryout.
Mhm.
Like that just never happens. So could use a few more to feel good about it, but I'm leaning towards 10 teams at this point.
Yeah, I feel like anywhere in between 150 and 160 is a good range for 10 teams.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. But we'll see.
So that's going to be the 6th is the first tryout. Now the draft is locked in for the 10th, correct?
Sunday the 10th. Yep.
So that'll be the second tryout.
Yep. Second tryout, and then immediately after will be the draft
And now for both tryouts, where will they be?
at the Legion.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, we're going back to my tryout year, going to the Legion.
Yeah, we're going to the Legion. The town
Also
field.
mine.
The town fields definitely won't be cleared by then.
Oh, that's right. I know I've said this before, but I remember showing up to the tryouts and just being like, all right, whatever. And then I see Dustin get up and just fucking hitting moonshots over the trees. I'm like, wait, where did I just sign up?
It was 30 degrees. I wanted to feel good. So
It's 30 degrees, but I was sweating like it was 85.
You were nervous. A lot of athletes has been requested. A lot of athletes watching you.
I was hustling. I was sprinting in the outfield, shagging balls.
That stopped quick.
I
The
love
sprinting
sh-
part. No,
the-
the shagging
sprinting.
ball, the
Yes,
sprinting
love
part's
shagging.
gone.
Sprinting's fucking long. I carried up my soundboards, which I have on either side of me here, and that's a lot of exercise now.
Who doesn't love shagging? That's sex.
No
I mean,
clue.
we're all looking
That's
at you,
sex.
Z.
That's
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd rather hit. I'd rather hit than shag. No, but I like hitting, and then everybody hits the whole bucket. Then the two or
go
three
get 'em.
people go out there and no shagging. I prefer no shagging at PP.
Not at all.
Just ball cleanup.
It's just ball and bullshit.
Yeah.
So what else can we expect this year? I mean, I know that you have a board meeting tomorrow. I know we're
Yep.
getting close to at least tryout time, and people are getting ready to prepare. Where are we with decisions on the board? And I can't say it. How's attendance been?
Has attendance been at the meetings? Attendance has been more than half. We'll say that it's been pretty solid. But for what to expect, like I said, I'm expecting 10 teams. So with 10 teams means 27 games regular season. We're going to try to not use Thursdays for rainouts. So we're going to build in 2 weeks at the end of the season for rainouts that will get pushed to the end. Anything over 4 rainouts, we'll have to start using Thursdays. But hopefully that's enough of a buffer. And then, a lot of the same stuff. The only things that have changed is games played requirement for playoffs has gone up from 14 to 16. And then we've made a couple other rule changes about trying to avoid forfeits, which we can get into if you guys want. But
Yeah. That's what
I
this
think it'd be
Merrimack
good to
Minute
hear.
is for.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
I'd love to know
hear
why,
what's changing.
the reasons behind coming to
Yeah.
these.
yeah. So where should we start?
Go with the forfeits.
The forfeits.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing last year, right? Like that was the thing that everybody kind of saw as
Right.
the glaring issue. So
Yeah. So we did a few things that, not just one thing. We're hoping that doing a few things in different spots will overall help alleviate the forfeits we had last year. So one of the things we're doing is we're pushing the trade deadline back. I think it's usually been around game 9. We're moving that to the halfway point of the season to give a little bit more time to work out trades. If there's something that can be worked out to get more players to show up. The other thing we're going to do is, in the event that a team forfeits, like if they forfeit 2 times within 9 games, the league's going to try to step in and make something happen, whether it's a supplemental pickup or, trying to work something out. But we can't let what happened last year happen again. Another thing that's changing is this one's going to be a little bit, we still need to iron out the exact details for, but if a team puts up in for a player, they're short on guys a lot. They put in for a player. Before we try to bring in new guys, we're going to try to offer to relocate guys that are on current teams that are unhappy with their playing time. So that, because, it sucks for some guys like that might ride the bench on a team that has guys that show up all the time that would love to get relocated and play every inning. So we're going to try to do that first before we pull in any brand new guys to the league from the supplemental.
And if you were to do something like that, does the coach of that team have a say, or is it going to be, I could step in and say, hey, I'm not playing a ton, I'd like to be put on a team? Like, can my coach step in and say, no, you're not getting rid of them?
Yeah, it's a great question. And that's where we kind of still got to iron out the exact details for that, because we don't want it to become like a guy says he doesn't want to be on his team anymore. He doesn't get pulled out of the hat. Now he's going back to that team and everybody knows that, all right, this guy doesn't want to play with us anymore. Like, that's a shitty situation for that guy. So there's got to be some sort of, confidentiality for it. And the other thing is, like, obviously the board's going to use our judgment. If I have a couple like guys that, have never played before that quit my team and I need a player, and Dustin says that he wants to get relocated, like, we're not going to let that fly. Like, that's not something that we're going to do. So the board's going to be involved in who can be included in that. And we're going to try to keep it confidential. They're going to basically email we're going to post it, say, does anyone want to get relocated? And they'll send it directly to me. I will be the only one that has all the names, and we'll go from there.
And do you think that's going to be only based off playing time, or if I'm just unhappy with who's on my team? You haven't
Honestly,
decided?
I would say both, or it doesn't really matter to me as long as as long as it's coming from a team that has plenty of players and it's going to help out a team that is struggling for guys, and
Gotcha.
it doesn't affect the competitive balance of the entire league. It's cool with me.
Okay, so you got into kind of changing the competitive balance.
Mhm.
So is it going to be like a vote type thing with the board for if say this guy is going to this team or wants to get out of his situation,
Mhm.
maybe he does start all the time, but he just doesn't like it, and then so now you're comparing like the person that they lost to the person that is now going to that team.
Yeah, there will definitely be an aspect of that. Like there has to be, in my opinion. And we're also it's going to depend on why that person wants to get moved from their team. We would ask for an explanation. It wouldn't just be like, hey, I'd like to basically re-enter the draft midseason. So we'll use our best judgment both on who they're replacing. If somebody has 2 first rounders that get, hurt or 2 early picks that get hurt for the year, and then somebody does have a solid type player that wants to get relocated, then I don't see why not. But again, I'm sure there'll be very heated discussions if that does come up. My hope is that we don't even get into this, and that everybody says that everyone that shows up to all the games, we don't have to worry about it. But it's not going to be like an easy process. We'll have to talk it out for sure.
Well, that's I think that's a good thing. And you mentioned 2 first rounders. How do I get my hands on those?
Yeah, no, I misspoke on that one. I'm still a little fuzzy from this weekend.
It's still hurting a little bit. You had a good weekend.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah. Go ahead, D.
Oh no, I
thought you were saying something.
No,
I
was just going to say, I think it's good that you guys are trying something. I mean, we talked about this going into last year of trying something new.
Mhm.
Some things work, some things don't, and you're open with this, and I think it has the potential to positively go really well. And then I think you have the potential to have some really, like you said, heated conversations, which I won't be envious of you guys having to come up with. But I think as a player, I will appreciate, because there are those guys who just need a different place to go. And it's good that you guys are trying to think of that and how we can get them playing time before some new guy coming into the league and taking some swings.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, I think this is quite clearly done for player retention, right?
Yes.
Like it's not to like go play with your friends. It's to keep guys in the league. And realistically, you want to, I think the only way that someone should move to a team is if their playing time could increase to on this new team. The whole I don't like this guy, so I don't want to play with him, or I don't like this guy on the team, so I don't want to play on this team. I think you should just get over it. But
I have no problem saying that to somebody.
Yeah, because I couldn't think of anywhere other than the playing time aspect. Any other reason why someone would just be like, yeah, I don't want to be on this team anymore.
It should definitely be playing time aspect for it. I'm going to use somebody as an example, like Tucker Twardowski that was on your team last year. Like he enjoyed being on your team. He got a lot of innings, but you guys had 1 million guys that showed up to every single game. So he could only get so many innings. That's just the way that it works. And he loves softball. So in that situation, Tomahawk, we approve them to get another guy. Like he gets to make that decision on his own. We're not just moving him and saying like, hey, go play for this other team. You'll get more time. He gets to decide on his own. Do I want to stick with this team that's in first place and has a chance to make a run? Or would I rather is it more important for me to go and play more innings somewhere else? So
now is it something that you're going to announce, say if a team is, they've lost a couple of guys, are you going to put it out there and say if there is anyone who, would like to move?
Yeah, it's not going to be an open posting by any means. It's going to be once a team has been approved, once a team's already submitted, I need another player, and then we vote it through and we decide, okay, yeah, they're going to get another player. That's when we would do the post and say, is anyone interested in moving?
Right. Yeah.
And then we would try to provide some sort of criteria. To your point before, it's if you're pissed that so-and-so bailed on beer night and that's why you want to get moved, get over it. That's not what this is for. It's for
that one actually might be.
Yeah, there's some definite
vote them off the island.
Yeah, that's got some weight to it.
Yeah, but maybe for you guys, but you get my point.
Well, I got excited when you said announcements, D. I thought maybe the Merrimack Minute could start brokering deals during the year.
Yeah,
Can we get a trade deadline preview?
Yeah.
We could do
This is
that.
great.
And there was a lot of trades at the deadline last year, so more
Yep.
than I've ever seen before. So we'll see how that works with it being later in the year, because we're doing that for the purposes of being able to relocate guys and make trades and stuff like that. But it also gives a longer period of time for other teams to make trades. So
Yeah, because ultimately that's like the first thing. You want to be able to make a trade between two teams to make everything work out.
right,
If that's not the case, then you fall to this,
exactly.
this team has a spot open. Who would like to move there?
Exactly. And I imagine this kind of just occurred to me, but in years past, like supplemental pickups couldn't be kept on that team. I imagine it would be the same. If a guy gets moved from one team to another through that process, they can't get kept by that team. So
Gotcha.
Interesting.
Let's move into the we should probably move along into the amount of games
played.
that you need. Yes. Why what made you guys come to this decision? So you're
Yeah.
moving it from 14 to 16, right?
yeah.
So that's an extra week.
This was one that there was a kind of a lot of different parts of this discussion. And this is one that by no means were we unanimous on. This was one where it was pretty split down the middle. Where, some guys were saying they're sick of the guy showing up for one at bat. They want more strategy as part of the draft. They think it, and they also think that guys, I don't know, they just think it'll get guys to show up more for whatever reason. It's one that I was surprised by the vote on, to be honest with you, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So this to me seems like it's almost going in the opposite direction. So the first rule you mentioned or that we brought up was player retention. Now you're going to also limit the or put a put more games on that you need to make in order to make the playoffs. At what point does someone say, well, I know I'm not going to make this many games, so now I'm just going to play in a league that doesn't require me to make as many games?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. And that's something that was a definite counterpoint that was brought up to it. I don't have a great explanation, to be honest with you. I was surprised by the vote. I might get killed for not defending it better on here, but I was surprised that we ended up doing that. But
I don't think it's your job to defend what the board.
Right. I know, but
votes on.
I'm drawing a blank on like what some of the arguments were for why we should go to 16 over 14. The other thing that makes it weird now is with the DL stuff. Now it's like, because it was always half your games after the DL. So now the DL stuff is half plus one. And it's like, now that's another thing we got to keep track of. But
so I think what I felt Dustin was saying was like, even if you're drawing a blank on it, like you are just kind of liaison telling us what's changing. So
right.
we don't have to agree with or even know the reasons why. The rules, it's going to be a rule. It's like, I don't like this rule personally, but your reasons for it are irrelevant. If it's a rule, we're going to have to follow it anyway.
Yep.
But yeah, it kind of what you were and this is why you don't have to say the reason, because you mentioned like people not wanting someone to only have one swing. That doesn't change by this rule. Someone can still show up to do their one swing and nothing has changed. But I think that one's going to be tougher. I think Dustin had a point there. Is there anything happening with the forfeits? Is there anything changing with that?
Yeah. So that one's a little long to explain. I don't know if we're going to have time for that, but basically we wanted to get away from, all right, the team that forfeits, none of those guys get a game played, because and this might have had something to do with 14 to 16 was this rule change, but we want guys to be able to play more. There's a lot of guys that like VFW had like 4 forfeits in a row last year. Like that sucks. Like that's brutal. So we want to give the guys the ability to still try to play or at least get some swings. So what we're going to do instead is, let's say my team forfeits to Peterson. J-Ro would get a text that would say, hey, Buckley has to forfeit. Ask your team if they would still like to play the game tonight. Whoever wants to show up, they can show up. And if they do, they're going to get a game played. If they don't, they're not going to get a game played. And basically Buckley, the guys that will be able to show up, let's say we have 8, we'll be able to pick up 2 guys like just at the field to be our reserves for the game. That way we can still get a game in, and we're going to time box that game to an hour time limit. But it's mostly, it sucks when you got 8 guys and that somebody just can't go down and get swings and can't get a game in, and they're not going to get a game played. This is going to hopefully avoid some of that stuff.
Is there, and again, I know I just said like you don't have to give us the reasons, but like, is there a reason that you're penalizing the team that wasn't originally forfeiting, where those guys now still have to go to get their game? They don't just keep it.
Yeah, only because, well, first we want to promote, like we want the game to be played. We want there to be like a game played. So it gives the guys a little bit more of a skin in it. If it's like, oh, well, I'm not going to get a game played if I don't go. If they need games played, then they're like more likely to go. And the other thing is, I'm going to use Zach Marino as an example last year. Zach Marino came to the field twice last year, and they got 7 forfeit wins. So when we were getting closer to the end, it's like he's almost playoff eligible, and he has been to the field 2 times. So even though they won all those games by forfeit, should these guys lower on the roster really be getting all these games played? Because there's definitely guys that were playoff eligible last year because their team was forfeited against multiple times and they didn't have to make as many games at the end.
Do you think that's like like for me specifically, personally, if I'm told there's a forfeit, I'm going to go hang out with my family instead of going to the field. You know what I mean? Knowing
that's totally fine.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, so now you're just penalizing those guys who, like, the game means nothing, which I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here because I think that, like, I'm going to make my games anyway, but I also I promote playing rather than just having a forfeit. But
I think it gives us another opportunity to, and not to cut you off, but like, it's not for those guys. It's for the guys that don't play as much. And it's like, oh, now this is an opportunity where I can go down and I can go play a position I want to try out. Or like so I can get more time played, kind of like we were doing with the relocate thing. It's just giving other guys more opportunity to play.
Right. I think that it almost seems like this rule is made for an extremely small percentage of the population, and it's hurting more of the people who go anyway.
I mean, yeah, I guess I could see that perspective. I don't see it that way. I think it's again, it promotes giving other guys more opportunities to play. Like if you like, the game doesn't matter, the team's still going to get a win no matter what. So like in your instance, Dustin, like in that game, it's like you'd be more than happy to either just not show up so other guys can get more time, or just catch so other people can try other positions and things,
or
like
go
that.
Down for one at bat and leave.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that,
which is what they don't want. But
I guess you could do that, but
you know what I mean? Like I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, you're one at bat and go to Los Primos for a tower.
Right. Like, yeah, I don't, that to me seems like a weird rule. I get where it's coming from, but
I guess quickly wrapping up here before we finish our Merrimack Minute. That was fucking weird. New coaches. Who we got?
So Corey Dearborn is one of the new coaches. Dave Kuchar is one of the new coaches. And as long as we have 10 teams, Kyle Palavicius will be a new coach.
Christ, I hope we only have 9. No, that's good. I mean, we got 2 guys that are new to the league last year coming in as coaches. And that's nice to see. And hopefully they bring some fresh blood as well with them.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. They're excited. I know they're already all over me. How does the draft work? When are we doing mock drafts? I love to see that, the excitement. I remember what it's like my first draft. It's fun.
I got to say that
that's the question. How does the draft work?
Yeah. Mock draft season is kind of. Have you guys been doing mock drafts? I mean, we're 2 weeks week and a half away.
It's basically impossible to do mock drafts this year. There's no way,
unless you know the rosters like you do. It's weird how
no, we don't. Out. So we don't know the roster. So here's what the board voted on. The board voted to do 1 draft this year. So even with the 38 guys now, we're doing 1 draft. They voted to do all 1 draft. And remember, this year is 4 keepers. So for guys that don't keep anybody and guys that keep 4 players, those teams get to catch up. So technically, let's take Dearborn, for example, right? He's not going to count as a top 4. So Dearborn is going to have 4 picks before the rest of the teams that have 4 keepers. So he could technically take 4 new players before all these other teams get a chance to draft a new guy. So what that means is we really can't make the keepers do until we have the tryouts and we see who is in that new player draft, or sorry, who is a new player, because they're all going to be in one draft. Like, how can you make your keeper selections without really knowing what the player pool is? That's why it was always great when they were separate. But now it's like, all of a sudden, if a bunch of studs come in, you know, you might be less likely to keep one of your guys that you had last year. So you have a better chance of getting some of these newer players. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah. So the mock drafts that we can do again are, you know, who I'm guessing teams are keeping, and also who I'm hearing is good in the new player draft. And as you guys know, every player in the new player draft is the best player that's ever played softball in the history of softball. Everybody gets hyped up and is nasty. So it's really hard to judge that without actually seeing them. Cause like at this point, I don't know any, like I know like 2 of these new guys I've actually seen play. Sorry, maybe 4 or 5 because of fall ball, but I don't really know who a lot of these guys are. So I need to see who they are before I can really do any mock drafts. But
well, and there you have it. Welcome. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in for the first Merrimack Minute. We'll see you next week. Hopefully it'll be the eve of the first tryout. Hopefully we have some more concrete thoughts on what we have going forward heading into the draft, and we'll kind of go from there. So we'll see everybody next week. And if you want, we'll be on Facebook in 5 minutes.
Thanks for joining us, Jim.